RBI last night as he goes 2 for 4. And, of course, the big home run Saturday afternoon to back up Carlos Rodon, a 2-run blast at the top of the 8th inning. That's about it for the Giants as they lose another one to the Diamondbacks. They're 3-7 in the last 10. They are struggling right now, but there's still positivity in the air when it comes to the Giants. They're tied with the Cardinals in the loss column for the last wild card spot. They're a game back of the Philadelphia Phillies, so it's not all doom and gloom despite the recent struggles. Let's talk to our main man, Dave Flemming, one of the many great voices of the San Francisco Giants. Of course, Flem joins us every single week on the roast. And by the way, we're looking at Tiger Woods on our screen right now, Flem, as we say good morning to you. Are you going out to Scotland this weekend? Are you going out to St. Andrews?
I am going,
No.
but I'm not. I'm not going to St. Andrews, but yes, I am going. Believe it or not, on Wednesday after the game, I am going to Scotland.
That is so awesome. Have you ever been over there? That's like one of my bucket list things. Like I was thinking, because today's Prime Day, right? If you could order something from Amazon Prime, what would it be? Like there are certain bucket list things. If I could do one thing and hit it right now on Amazon Prime, it would be going to Scotland and going to see the old course at St. Andrews. It's one of the things I absolutely have to do before I die.
That's a tough one to find on Prime. I have been before, and I just can't wait to go again. It's one of my true favorite places in the world. One of my favorite things to do. So it's in the season we don't get time off. So every few years we the four of us kind of rotate around. Like we might block off a few days around the AllStar break, but those are off days that are in demand because you actually get to turn it into a week off. So every few years it's my turn to block off a few days. So I'm missing the Brewers series and going over there.
So ESPN Plus, are you going to be on that coverage and the regular ESPN channel?
I'm not working. I'm going for pleasure.
Oh, it's just for pleasure.
He's taking some time off, man. Flip deserves a vacation. He deserves a vacation. Are you taking the family, Flip?
That's awesome.
My dad and I are going.
Oh,
wow, that's great.
Cool.
That's great.
So my dad and I are going to go, and we're not even going to be. I mean, maybe we'll watch the golf on TV, but we're playing our own golf. So
where? I want to hear.
Well, we're going to two places we've never played before up north of Edinburgh and where St. Andrews is. One is called Royal Aberdeen, and one is called Cruden Bay. So
I know Cruden Bay.
Yeah, they're both supposed to be spectacular. And then we're going to Royal Dornoch, which is, maybe my favorite place in the world. And that's where we're going to be for the next, 5 days.
Oh,
so we're
I'm so jelly.
Yeah, you should be.
Have fun. On the real, have fun.
You deserve
cool.
it. You deserve a nice little break here as we get into the All-Star break. You deserve some time off from calling these games. It's been a lot of stressful, man. The Arizona series, the first 2 games of the Padres series, but they did salvage a split and had everybody feeling good. But then last night happens. The Diamondbacks are very much improved after going 2-17 against the Giants last season. Now they're won 3 games already this year against the Giants in the first 4 contests. And Merrill Kelly had them off balance yesterday. Merrill Kelly's a nice little pitcher, Flem.
He's good, and I'm glad he said that about, a couple things there. Merrill Kelly is very good, and the Diamondbacks are much improved. And these games have been too stressful. And one thing that's happening to the Giants right now, they had the game on Sunday, which is, been such a rarity of late. But you can't play every game within a margin of a run and expect to have a good year. You have to win some games by blowing some people out. You got to take some stress off your bullpen every once in a while. And the Giants right now are just having a heck of a time delivering the knockout punch or even a couple real body blows. They're just playing too many of these games, and it's wearing them out. And I thought Sunday, finally they get a little reprieve, but they came right back to play one of these games that we've seen over and over again. And that, ultimately, that's not blaming anybody for that, but it's just such a hard way to go as a team where every single night you're grinding it out like they've been grinding it out. It's tough.
So, there's, I guess, more of a philosophical question here. Joey Bart gets pinch hit for the other day after hitting a big-time double. It should have been a home run. The guy leans over the fence. He gets pinch hit for, and it works. Slater, 2 big hits. They end up winning that game. It was a huge part of that game. Yesterday, Bonte, comes in here this morning and goes, dude, Brandon Belt's on fire. He's like 6 of his last 8, and then they pinch hit for him, and it works with Anthony Slater. But then it's like, wait a minute, or Austin Slater, excuse me. But what are we doing? Why are you taking the bat out of Brandon Belt's hands here? Where are you at with situations like that when it comes to a hot hitter like someone like Brandon Belt kind of getting pinch hit for in certain situations because of the numbers?
Well, here's what I would say, and I think Gabe Kapler even talked about this. I didn't stick around for Gabe's post-game conference after the game, but if you wait to use Slater, you don't get Slater against the left-hander. And the Giants' whole bench last night was right-handed, and Slater is your weapon. Slater's the guy who's been swinging the bat better than anybody. And you're trying to find a guaranteed spot to have him against a lefty in a big spot. And that was the only chance, because if you do it 2 hitters later, the 3-batter minimum rule is gone, and they've got a right-hander warming up in the bullpen, and he comes in, and you don't get that Slater matchup. Now, does it hurt to do it when it's Belt or Jock Peterson? Yeah, it hurts to do it, especially because, those spots could come up later in the game. I think that's where it really hurts. But I don't think there's anybody in that clubhouse, including Brandon Belt, who would argue that Slater against a lefty in a big spot is about as good as it gets right now for the Giants. He's not as big of a name, but that doesn't change the fact that the numbers say that Slater against the lefty is about your best matchup these days. And so I don't blame Gabe for seeking those out. And against some teams, it's hard to find those. And, frankly, Belt has had so much swing and miss against lefties. That was a spot where you absolutely had to have some contact to at least get the 1 run in. And they got the contact and they got the run in, and it set up the next play where they built the bases loaded rally. So, I hear what you're saying, and I do think it's a little unconventional, and it can be perplexing at times. But I think it's almost always driven by, can we guarantee an awesome matchup right here, maybe with the game on the line? Let's do it and worry about later.
Dave Flemming on the Morning Russell, 95.7 The Game, voice of the Giants, of course, as they lose to the Diamondbacks 4-3, also all over ESPN, whether it's golf coverage, college basketball, college football. But he's going to Scotland this weekend just to hang out, and well-deserved, Dave Flemming. And look, the 3 for 3 with Brandon Belt, I was just kind of perplexed, because how does that go over in the clubhouse?
Yeah.
Now, you just kind of made that point there, Flem, that, look, they understand the business. They understand what's happening with this baseball team. But let me ask you this about Joey Bart. He's batting 155. I think his at-bats have been better since he's been recalled from Sacramento. But look, I'm not inside baseball. I don't know how this stuff works, but what if you just batted Joey Bart second? Or you put him in a better spot in the lineup instead of batting him ninth? Maybe he sees better pitches. Maybe he has better at-bats. I don't know. I just like to see it from the number 2 overall pick to put him in better positions to maybe have better at-bats.
Well, I think I'm not sure I totally believe. I think if you're hitting in front of Barry Bonds or hitting in front of Juan Soto, maybe you get different pitches. I think for the most part you get pitched based on your scouting report. I don't think that really changes where you. Maybe in the old days it did, but I think now these teams now are just so incredibly detail-oriented. In fact, one of my little amateur hack theories about what's going on with the Giants right now is I think the Giants are so scouting report-oriented, and they have hitters who are so disciplined to the scouting report that I think teams are looking at their own self-scouting report and saying, we're playing the Giants, and we're just going to mix it all up. We're going to do something very different than what our tendencies say we do. And I think you're seeing the Giants last night. Lamont Wade did it. Mike Yastrzemski did it. Brandon Crawford did it in big at-bats, big situations, and very favorable counts, taking pitches right down the middle. And, to me, now, look, Giants players, Giants hitters have a plan. They have a game plan. It's worked for 2 years. I don't want them not to have that game plan. I think it's one of the best things about the Giants. But it has been a trend to me these last few weeks where a lot of really good pitches are being let go by. I mean, the 2-0 pitch to Lamont Wade from Mark Melancon last night is the one you dream of. Mm-hmm. And you take it. Okay, I want to see this guy. I want to take a strike. Okay. But I think when you need to do damage late in the game, when you're running out of outs, you get that one pitch, you got to be ready for it. And Lamont, to me, one of the things I love about Lamont is that he's ready from pitch one. You know, he'll swing at the first pitch of the game and hit it over the wall. And so look, do I know that's happening? I don't know that's happening. Right. That's just a speculative sort of observation. But I think, the Giants are so scouting report oriented. This is a way divergent from the question that you asked. I'll go back to Joey
That's
Bart.
a good point, though. No, it's a good point, Flem. No, I like hearing that because maybe it is an old school way of thinking that I have right now, because I'm just thinking like maybe you just put him in the prime spot and maybe he sees a mistake pitch or whatnot, and maybe there's runners on base for Joey Bart to swing at, although he does have runners on base when he's batting ninth at times. I'm just mix it up a little bit because it just feels like the 9 spot. We see Joey Gallo batting ninth for the Yankees. He's batting 166, and it's not getting any better for Joey Gallo, even though that's what he usually does is bat around 200.
Yeah, and Bart, the plan was not to have Joey back up here this fast. I mean, he's clearly, I think, working on some stuff. The swing path does look a little different. There have been some encouraging results, but it's hard, in 10 days to implement a big change and then come right back into the fire. And I think the 9 spot is more like a nod to let's take as much pressure off this guy as possible. The Giants constantly emphasize to Joey, like, look, keep your defense up, be as good of a defensive catcher, a receiver, a game caller as you can be, lean into the game plan stuff, and we're okay. And I think he's done a good job of that this year. I really do. And it's hard to watch him, hit 150 day after day, but I think the other stuff has been a real positive. I still have a lot of hope that Joey can turn into a really good big league player.
He's squared up more balls since returning than I expected. He really has. He just doesn't have the production that we're expecting. Yastrzemski's struggling right now. Wade's struggling right now. But the guy who's balling right now is Carlos Rodon. He doesn't make the All-Star game. You see the All-Star because every team has to have a representative for the Diamondbacks last night. And then Giants end up knocking him out of the game. What's your thoughts on Rodon getting snubbed and just, I guess, kind of the way the All-Star game is set up right now? I've got some issues with how many position players are there, and every team needs a representative, which it makes sense if I'm on one of the lowly teams or I'm a fan of the Pirates or whatever. I don't think there's a perfect answer, but I'm frustrated on behalf of Carlos Rodon. What about you?
I've always supported that idea that every team gets a player. Because as a kid, I remember, wanting to watch my team's players in the introductions, especially. Yeah. Now, look, I'm going to say something here, and this is Joe Mantiply's had a great year, and I'm happy for him. And he's a grinder, and he's had this incredible. He's really a cool story, actually, to get where he's been. Give him all the credit in the world. But somehow I do doubt they're going to be like a million people in Phoenix putting on their TVs on Tuesday to watch Joe Mantiply get introduced.
Well, and Flem, that was my point on the Pirates. I'm looking at this picture. I'm like, well, if we're trying to get them excited, why not have O'Neal Cruz come up? And I know now he gets an All-Star bid. There's not a right answer, but I'm with you on this.
Yeah, and you can't watch last night's game and watch Mantiply pitch and think. I in the back of my head, I'm just thinking, it's unfathomable that Carlos Rodon is not on the All-Star team and this guy is. Yeah. Bouncing 80-mile-an-hour changeups for 20 pitches and then he's out of the game. It's like the impact on the team and his team and the game is so minuscule compared to what Carlos Rodon has done. And again, that is no disrespect. This guy's had a really good year, and it's going to be a thrill for him, and I'm happy for him. But if the All-Star game is supposed to be let's get the best players together and give the fans a real show, Carlos Rodon's got to be on that team. There's no better show right now, pitching-wise, in the National League. With Scherzer banged up, with Jacob deGrom on the injured list, I think Carlos Rodon's the most fun pitcher to watch of anybody, and he's not on the team. And I just isn't Zach Wheeler not on the team too?
Zach Wheeler's not there either. Nope.
He got snubbed.
Yep. Austin Riley's not on the team. He's been one of the best players in baseball for the last year, Flem.
And it's like Schwarber's on there. It's like Schwarber could be in the home run derby. His OPS is the lowest it's been in 5 years for him. He's not an all-star per se.
Yeah, and that's where, sometimes these teams, I was in the room with Bruce Bochy several times when he was having to pick teams, and he would, not that he would lean on us for advice, but he would tell us what he was doing to pick these teams. And basically he would call the managers of these teams, like he would call Torey Lovello and say, who's your guy? I've only got room for one. Give me your choice. And he would mostly just listen to, hey, it's the manager of that team. Why would I dispute it? So I think you call Rob Thompson and he says, it's Schwarber. Who are you to say
that's a good point.
But it's just not the best way to construct a team where you're trying to put a show on for your fans. It's supposed to be the most fun game possible for your fans.
And these guys are using this as ammunition for their arbitration. You know what I mean? Like for them getting more money and things like that. It goes on their resume. So I get frustrated for some of our own guys.
Yeah, and I guarantee you Scott Boras would have been very happy if Carlos Rodon had made the team. Scott's got all the ammo he needs, but he's I'm sure he's ticked off about it. I'm sure he is.
Yeah, no doubt about that. He had a spectacular showing Saturday at Petco Park, going the full 9 innings for a complete game. He was whiffing 98, 99, pumping 98, 99 to the plate. Carlos Rodon, a spectacular season, and hopefully, he's going to opt out and get new money, and hopefully that new money is with the San Francisco Giants. Hey, Flynn, we don't want to keep you any longer. Enjoy Scotland. Safe travels with you and your pops. We can't wait to hear about this trip to Scotland.
I want one name, Flynn, before you go.
One name. We always got to do one name.
I'm going to give you my one name. Shane Lowry.
You're taking Shane Lowry to win at St. Andrews. Mm-hmm. I'm taking Jordan Spieth.
Let's go.
I think Spieth is ready. I know there were some ugly moments on Sunday. I was watching him play the Scottish Open, but I think Jordan Spieth, he's going to have wedge in his hand on a lot of holes. There's nobody better with the wedge. He loves the British Open. I think it can be Jordan's week. I do. He's playing well enough. He really is. I know he hasn't delivered when he's had chances, but he's playing really well this year.
All right, I'm going Colin Morikawa, baby.
Ooh,
after he had a good, strong showing the first 2 rounds of the U.S. Open, and he kind of faded there. I'm going Morikawa, man. I'm going with the Cow product.
Have fun with your dad, Flem.
Good pick. I can't wait. I'll talk to you guys. Not over the All-Star break because I will be in the country, but I'll talk to you when I get back.
Have fun with your dad. That sounds like a cool trip. All right, buddy?
Thanks.
All right, Flem. Dave Flemming on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game. Going out to Scotland to take some time off. Not even going to the Open, just going out there to play some golf.